kids! Today we're going to hear an amazing story about the 10 plagues of Egypt, divine retribution, or natural disaster. It's a tale from the Bible that shows how powerful and determined God was to free His people, the Israelites, from slavery in Egypt. So let's dive in and explore each of the 10 plagues that struck Egypt. It all started when God told Moses to visit Pharaoh and demand the release of the Israelites. When Pharaoh refused, God turned all the water in Egypt into blood. The rivers, ponds, and even the water in jars turned red, and the fish died, making the land stink. Next, God sent a plague of frogs. Frogs were everywhere. They covered the land, hopping into houses, ovens, and even beds. Pharaoh begged Moses to ask God to remove the frogs, and in return he promised to free the Israelites. But when the frogs were gone, Pharaoh changed his mind. Then came the plague of gnats. Aaron struck the dust of the ground, and it turned into gnats that covered people and animals. Pharaoh's magicians tried to replicate this plague but failed, yet Pharaoh's heart remained hardened. The fourth plague was swarms of flies. They invaded Pharaoh's palace and the homes of his officials. The land was ruined by these pesky insects. Pharaoh tried to bargain, saying the Israelites could sacrifice to God in Egypt, but Moses insisted they needed to go into the wilderness. God then sent a deadly disease upon the Egyptian livestock. Horses, donkeys, camels, cattle, sheep, and goats fell ill and died, but not a single animal belonging to the Israelites was harmed. Still, Pharaoh refused to let them go. Next, God instructed Moses to take handfuls of soot and toss it into the air in front of Pharaoh. It caused painful boils to break out on the Egyptians and their animals. Even Pharaoh's magicians were afflicted and couldn't stand before Moses. Then came a storm like no other. Thunder roared and hail rained down, destroying crops, trees, and even people and animals caught in the open. Only the land of Goshen, where the Israelites lived, was spared. After the hail, God sent locusts. They swarmed over the land and devoured whatever was left of the crops and fruit trees. Pharaoh hastily called Moses and Aaron to plead for mercy, but after the locusts were gone, he again changed his mind. The ninth plague was a thick darkness that covered Egypt for 3 days. No one could see anything or move from their places, but the Israelites had light where they lived. Pharaoh called Moses and told him they could go but leave their flocks behind. Moses refused. Finally, the 10th plague struck, the death of the firstborn. Every Egyptian firstborn child and the firstborn of their livestock died. But the Israelites were spared because they followed God's instructions to mark their doorposts with lamb's blood. This plague broke Pharaoh's will, and he let the Israelites go. So, kids, was it divine retribution or natural disaster? The Bible tells us it was God's powerful way to free His people and show His might. Remember, God is always with us, even in the toughest times. Thanks for joining us on this amazing adventure. Until next time, keep exploring and learning. Thanks for watching, kids. See you next time for another amazing Bible story adventure. Don't forget to subscribe to Uncle Paul's Bible Stories Made Simple for more inspiring stories. Please hit the bell, like, share, and subscribe to this channel with your friends and family.
Exalt His name.